They told him he couldn't do it. They said the season was over. They said this team was broken. They said without Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves, the Los Angeles Lakers had absolutely no business being in a playoff series against anyone, let alone a tough, physical, battle-hardened Houston Rockets squad. And you know what happened? The Lakers won anyway. Not just squeaked through. Not just barely survived. They closed out the Houston Rockets in Game 6, dominated them on their own floor, held them to the fewest points they scored all season long, and sent them home. And when it was over, when the buzzer sounded and the confetti was floating through the air in that Houston arena, Coach J.J. Redick stood there with a look on his face that said everything. He did it again. But here's the thing. And this is what we're going to break down today, because this story is so much bigger than just one playoff series win. The Los Angeles Lakers didn't just get one piece of good news. They didn't just get two. They got three major pieces of good news, one right after the other, like the universe finally decided to stop punishing this franchise and throw them a bone. Or three bones, actually. And when you hear all three of them together, when you understand what each one means for this team, for this season, for this city, you're going to feel exactly what Lakers fans are feeling right now. That nervous, excited, almost disbelieving feeling. Like something impossible might actually be happening. So stay with me. Because we're about to take you through all of it. Every twist, every turn, every moment that made this one of the wildest stretches in recent Lakers history. This is the story of how a team that had every reason to fall apart somehow held together. This is the story of a 41-year-old man who refuses to let go. This is the story of a father and a son, on the biggest stage in basketball, making history that no one had ever made before. And this is the story of what comes next, because what comes next is terrifying. And thrilling. And nobody knows how it ends. Let's go. To understand how good this news is, you first have to understand how bad things got. Go back to April 2nd. The Lakers are in Oklahoma City. They're playing the Thunder, the defending NBA champions, the best team in basketball, the team that everyone in the league is scared of. And things are going terribly. The Thunder are running through the Lakers like they aren't even there. The final score is 139-96. That's a 43-point loss. 43 points. That's not a basketball game. That's an execution. But the score isn't even the worst part of that night. The worst part is what happens to Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves. Now if you follow basketball at all, you know who these two are. Luka Doncic, the guy the Lakers traded for. The generational talent. The guy with the cold-blooded step-back three and the ability to take over a game like he's playing against children. He is averaging 33.5 points per game this season. 3.5 points per game. That's one of the highest averages in the entire NBA. He is the engine of this team. He is the reason people believe the Lakers can win a championship. And Austin Reaves, don't even get me started. The guy who came from nowhere and turned himself into a legitimate star. 23.3 points per game this year. Career highs across the board. A guy who never gets rattled, never backs down, always makes the right play. He's the guy who does the work that doesn't always show up in the highlights, but you notice immediately when he's not on the floor. On April 2nd, both of them go down with injuries in the same game. Same night. Same loss. Doncic strains his hamstring. Reaves strains his oblique. And just like that, the two best defensive players on the Los Angeles Lakers are gone. Out indefinitely. And the playoffs are 3 weeks away. Think about what that feels like. Not just as a fan, but as a coach. You've spent all year building something. You've figured out how your team is going to play. You've got your system, your rotations, your game plans. And then, boom. Your two best players are hurt at the same time. With the playoffs right around the corner. J.J. Redick stands at the podium after that game and he admits it. He admits things felt bleak. That's a quote. He used the word bleak. A head coach in the middle of a playoff push standing there and saying, yeah, this feels bleak right now. That's where this story starts. In the rubble of a 43-point loss, with two star players hobbling to the training room and a first-round playoff series coming up fast. The question everybody was asking, could the Lakers survive this?
The Houston Rockets were not a team you wanted to face when you were shorthanded. They had Kevin Durant, still a nightmare to guard, still one of the most skilled offensive players the game has ever seen. They had Alperen Sengun in the middle, a physical force who could punish you inside. They had youth and energy and depth. And the Lakers were walking into Game 1 without their top two scorers. The odds makers didn't like the Lakers' chances. Most analysts picked Houston. You could find takes all over the internet, and I mean all over the internet, saying this was the end of the road for Los Angeles. Some people were already talking about the offseason. What changes would the Lakers make? Would Reaves re-sign? Could they afford to keep everyone? People were writing the Lakers' obituary before the series even started. And then Game 1 happened. And if you didn't watch it, oh man, you missed something special. Luke Kennard. That's the name you need to know for Game 1. Not Luka.
Luke.
Luke Kennard, a guy who most casual fans couldn't pick out of a lineup, came out and hit 5 three-pointers.
5.
Made 9 of his 13 shots. Dropped 27 points. Career playoff high. And the whole time he looked calm. Not surprised. Not overwhelmed. Just calm, like he knew this was going to happen. But here's the thing about Kennard's night. It almost doesn't matter without LeBron James. Because LeBron was the one making everything work. The 41-year-old. The man who has been doing this for 23 years. With Luka and Reaves both out, LeBron stepped back into the role he's played his whole career. The conductor. The organizer. The guy who controls the tempo and makes everyone around him better. In the first quarter alone, he dished out 8 assists.
8.
In one quarter. That set a Lakers franchise record for the play-by-play era. He finished with 19 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds. At 41 years old. In a playoff game. And, oh, by the way, something else happened in Game 1 that had nothing to do with winning or losing. Something that made grown men cry. Something that has never happened before in the history of the NBA playoffs. But we'll get to that in a minute. Because that story deserves its own chapter. And, trust me, it is worth the wait. The Lakers won Game 1. Then they won Game 2. They were up 2-0, and suddenly the narrative was flipping. Suddenly people were saying, wait, can the Lakers actually do this? And then Houston came back. The Rockets won Game 3. Then they won Game 4. Just like that, the series was tied. 2-2. All that momentum the Lakers had built gone. And to make things worse, Kevin Durant, who had been out with a knee injury for the Rockets, was starting to come back. The series that the Lakers had in their hands was slipping away. And through all of this, Luka Doncic was still not playing. He was on the bench in street clothes, watching his team fight for its playoff life. He'd gone all the way to Spain to get special treatment on his hamstring. He'd rejoin the team. But he wasn't ready. Not even close. JJ Redick was being asked every day, when is Luka coming back? And every day, the answer was the same. Not yet. We don't have a timeline. He's progressing but slowly. Game 5. The Rockets have the momentum. The Lakers are fighting for their season. And even Reaves, who had been working his way back from his oblique strain, was still not ready. They lost Game 5. 99-93. Now the Lakers were down 3-2. One loss and they were done. JJ Redick had to figure something out. He had to find a way to stop Alperen Sengun. He had to find a way to slow down a Rockets offense that had found its rhythm. He had to do all of this without 2 of his best players. What he came up with was a defensive adjustment that would change the series. He trusted his big men. DeAndre Ayton was going to guard Sengun one-on-one. No help. No doubles. Just Ayton, locked in on the best big man on Houston's roster, handling him mano-a-mano. And Jackson Hayes was going to hold it down when Ayton was off the floor. Most coaches don't make that call. Most coaches look for a safer option. But Redick believed in his guys. And in Game 6, it worked. Sengun had just 1 assist. He turned the ball over 4 times. His plus-minus was -27. The Lakers held the Rockets to 78 points, the fewest they scored all season long. Final score, 98-78. Lakers win. Series over. On to the next round. JJ Redick did it again. This is the part where you have to take a step back and appreciate what just happened. The Los Angeles Lakers just won a playoff series. That might sound simple. That might sound like something that happens every spring. But for this team, This is the first playoff series they've won since 2023. That was 3 years ago. And that year, they ended up losing to the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. 3 years. No playoff series wins. For the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most storied franchises in basketball history. The team with 17 championship banners hanging from the rafters of Crypto.com Arena. And they did it this year, without their best two offensive players for most of the series. Think about what that means for Redick. He is in his second year as an NBA head coach. He has never done this before. He was a player, a great player, a sharp shooter, someone who understood the game at a high level, but coaching is a completely different thing. And there were people last year who questioned whether he was the right guy for this job. Whether a first-time coach could handle the pressure of managing a team with LeBron James on it. Whether he was too inexperienced for a franchise that expects championships. This series was his answer to those questions. Adjustments in the middle of the series. Defensive scheming that shut down a quality center. Keeping his team together through a 3-0 lead that nearly slipped away. Staying steady when it looked like everything was falling apart. Redick is for real. That's the first piece of good news. Not just that the Lakers won, but that this coach, this young head coach with no prior experience, is proving he belongs. The Lakers are in the second round. But that's only piece 1 of 3.
Hold on.
Now remember, Reaves got hurt on April 2nd. Oblique strain. Grade 2. Doctors said 4 to 6 weeks. Everyone assumed he was going to miss the entire first round, maybe longer. But Austin Reaves is not a patient man when he's healthy enough to work. While Luka was in Spain getting treatment, Reaves was in the gym. He was doing 1-on-1 work, then 3-on-3, then 5-on-5. He was moving through the recovery progression as fast as his body would let him. And heading into Game 5, still listed as questionable, ESPN's Shams Charania reported that Austin Reaves expected to play. He expected to play. Not might play. Not hoping to play. Expected to play. He played. Came off the bench. Contributed in Game 5. Contributed in Game 6. He had 15 points in the closeout game. In his first 2 games back from a serious oblique injury, Austin Reaves was out there competing in a playoff series. Think about that from his perspective. You've spent a month on the sideline. You've watched your teammates fight through one of the hardest things a team can go through. You've watched the lead grow, and then shrink, and then the series get to Game 6 in Houston. And then you get cleared to play. And instead of easing back in, instead of just being a body on the floor, you go out and score 15 points in a closeout game. That's who Austin Reaves is. Now, here comes the complicated part. Because Reaves is a free agent this summer. And there are real questions about whether the Lakers are going to pay him the max contract that some people think he deserves. There are reports out there, we're talking Bleacher Report, we're talking legitimate NBA analysts, who are warning the Lakers about committing 5 years and $241 million to Reaves. They point to his injury history this year, missing 19 games with a calf strain early in the season, and then the oblique. They point to the fact that he and Luka have overlapping skill sets. These are real questions. They matter. Because if Reaves leaves in the offseason, this team looks completely different next year. But right now, in this moment, none of that matters. What matters is that Austin Reaves is back. He's healthy enough to compete in a playoff series. He's on the floor for the Lakers when they need him most. That's the second piece of good news. And it flows right into the third. Because while all of this was happening, while the Lakers were fighting through injuries and tactical adjustments and a series that nearly slipped away, something happened in Game 1 that had nothing to do with basketball strategy or win-loss records. Something happened that made history. Something that nobody who saw it will ever forget. Let me paint the picture for you. It's April 19th, Game 1 against the Rockets. Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. The building is electric. The Lakers are playing their first postseason game with Luka Doncic in the lineup, except Luka isn't in the lineup. He's in street clothes on the bench. So is Reaves. The crowd is nervous. They love this team, but they know what this team is missing. And then the second quarter starts. Redick makes a substitution. He sends 2 players onto the floor at the same time. And when those 2 players run out together, When the camera catches both of their jerseys in the same frame, the crowd noise changes. It doesn't get louder, exactly. It gets different. There's a warmth to it, an emotion to it that you don't usually hear in a playoff basketball game. Because the two names on the back of those jerseys are James and James Jr. LeBron James and Bronny James Jr., father and son, are on the floor together in an NBA playoff game. For the first time in history, let that sink in. No father and son had ever played together on the court in an NBA postseason game. Ever. Not in over 70 years of playoff basketball. And right there, in front of a sold-out arena and millions of people watching at home, LeBron and Bronny made that history together. LeBron's wife, Savannah, was in the stands. His daughter, Zuri. His youngest son, Bryce, who had just finished a Final Four run with the University of Arizona. And LeBron's mother, Gloria, the woman who raised LeBron by herself, who sacrificed everything for her son's dream. She was there too, watching her son and her grandson play in an NBA playoff game on the same floor at the same time. After the game, LeBron was asked about it. And this is what he said, word for word. "I was on the floor with my son. In a playoff game. That's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my career." This is a man with 4 NBA championships, 4 MVP awards, 4 finals MVPs, 3 Olympic gold medals, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, the all-time leader in playoff assists, a man who has done things on a basketball court that no one else has ever done. And the craziest thing that's ever happened to him was standing on the floor next to his son. Bronny's stat line from that game was modest. 4 minutes, 0 points, 1 turnover, 2 fouls, +3 in his plus-minus. By the numbers, it was nothing. But by everything else, it was everything. Because when the series ended, when the Lakers closed it out in Game 6, LeBron and Bronny had done something else that had never been done before. They became the first father and son duo in NBA history to win a playoff series as teammates. That's the third piece of good news. And in some ways, it's the biggest one. Because it's not just about basketball. It's about legacy. It's about what a father's love looks like when it's played out in public, on the biggest stage, in front of the whole world. LeBron James has been chasing greatness his entire life. And now, at 41, in his 23rd season, he's chasing something different. He's chasing memories. He's chasing moments. He's chasing the chance to do something with his son that nobody else has ever done. And he's doing it. Right now, in real time, when the dust settled, when the series was over, when the Lakers were celebrating in that Houston arena and the Rockets were heading home for the summer. Redick stood at the microphone and he talked about his star player. He talked about LeBron James. And what he said wasn't tactical. It wasn't about defensive adjustments or offensive schemes. It was personal. It was real. He said LeBron has had the greatest career of any NBA player. He said watching LeBron come through again, watching a 41-year-old man answer the call when his team needed him most, was, and I'm using his word here, baffling. That it's baffling in some ways. Think about what that means coming from a coach. Coming from a man who spent 17 years in the NBA as a player, who played against LeBron, who watched LeBron operate from the other team's perspective. He's seen it from every angle. And still, even now, he describes LeBron's continued excellence as baffling. LeBron in Game 6 had 28 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. He controlled the tempo from the opening tip. He scored 14 points in the second quarter alone, while the entire Rockets team scored only 13. He was everywhere, doing everything. At 41 years old. Redick also gave credit to DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes, the 2 big men who executed the defensive game plan against Sengun. He called them phenomenal. He said they did a great job protecting the rim. These are guys who were not household names when the series started. These are guys who stepped up when the moment was bigger than they were supposed to be able to handle. That's what coaching is. You find out what your players can do. You put them in the right situation. You make the adjustment at the right time. And then you trust them. Redick trusted his guys. And his guys came through. But here's where the story gets complicated. Here's where the nervousness creeps back in. Because the Lakers just advanced to the second round of the playoffs. And their second round opponent is the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champions, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. The team that beat the Lakers by 43 points on April 2nd, the same game where Luka and Reaves got hurt. And JJ Redick, who just said all those great things about his team, who just praised his players and called LeBron's career the greatest in NBA history. JJ Redick also stood in front of reporters and said something about the Thunder that sent a chill down your spine if you're a Lakers fan. He said, "The Thunder is one of the greatest teams ever in NBA history. Not one of the best teams right now. Not one of the best teams in the Western Conference. One of the greatest teams ever in NBA history." That's what the Lakers are walking into. The win probability numbers don't lie. With the series set to tip off in Oklahoma City, the computer models have the Thunder winning each game with over 90% probability. Over 90%. That's not a game. That's a coronation. That's the computer basically saying, look, we appreciate the Lakers for advancing, but this series is going to be short. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning most valuable player of the NBA, is waiting for them. He is the best player on a team full of great players. He is the engine of the most dominant defense in the league.
And Redick knows it.
He said after practice that whatever pressure the Rockets put on the Lakers with their defense, that's the Thunder's baseline. That's their floor. The minimum level of difficulty. When the Lakers turned the ball over 18 times against Oklahoma City on April 2nd, the Thunder scored 24 points off those turnovers. And that was during the regular season when stakes are lower, when players are a little bit more relaxed. In the playoffs, with Shai locked in and the whole arena rocking, the pressure is going to be even higher. Redick went to practice and his message was simple. Take care of the ball. That's the most important thing. Take care of the ball. And there's another wrinkle. A big one. Luka Doncic is still not back. ESPN's Shams Charania, the most plugged-in reporter in basketball, said before the series ended that Luka is on a slow path. That's the exact phrase. Slow path. The expectation around the league is that if the Lakers advance, which they did, Luka would be out for the next series. He's not doing full contact workouts yet. He's moving a little on the court, but not at game speed. Not at playoff speed. So the Lakers are going to face the Thunder, the greatest team ever in NBA history, according to their own coach, without their best player. Does that mean it's hopeless?
Well,
here's what I'll say. 3 weeks ago, everyone said it was hopeless against the Rockets. And look what happened. Here's the thing about this Lakers team. A thing that keeps happening over and over again, every time you think they're done. They find a way. Not always. Not every time. The season wasn't perfect. They got blown out by Oklahoma City. They lost to Detroit and Dallas in the regular season. They dropped games 3, 4, and 5 against Houston when it looked like they had the series in hand. They're a flawed team.
they will tell you that themselves.
But when their backs are against the wall, when the chips are down, when everybody in the building knows this is it, win or go home, this team has a tendency to do something remarkable. And the reason for that, the single biggest reason, is the man wearing number 23. LeBron James, at 41 years old, is averaging nearly a triple-double in this playoff run. Points, assists, rebounds, he's doing it all. He's the oldest player in NBA history to post double-digit assists in a playoff game. He passed Magic Johnson on the all-time playoff assist list. He became the first player 41 or older to record a points and assists double-double in the playoffs. He is making history every single time he steps on the floor. Every game is a new record. Every game is something that's never been done at his age. And every game, he makes you forget that he's 41. Because he doesn't play like someone who should be retired. He plays like someone who's been waiting all season for the stakes to get high enough. And now that the stakes are as high as they can possibly be, LeBron is right here. Ready. Available. Locked in. The question is that enough against the Oklahoma City Thunder? If the Lakers are going to pull off what would be the biggest upset of the 2026 playoffs, maybe the biggest playoff upset in years, here's what needs to go right. Luka Doncic needs to come back. Not necessarily for Game 1 or Game 2, but somewhere in this series, the Lakers need to get their best player on the floor. Because without him, the offensive ceiling just isn't high enough to keep up with Oklahoma City for a full series. Against the Rockets, LeBron and some incredible contributions from role players were enough. Against the Thunder? You need more. Austin Reaves needs to stay healthy. He just came back from a serious injury. He's going to be playing on a short timeline. He's going to be working through soreness and fatigue, and the kind of physical wear that comes with returning from a major strain in the middle of a playoff run. The Lakers need him to stay on the floor, because his ability to create offense and make the right read is irreplaceable. JJ Redick needs to find another adjustment. The man has proven he can do it. He found the answer against Sengun. He found the right rotation for a shorthanded team and rode it to a series win. Now he has to figure out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He has to figure out how to generate offense against the best defense in the league. He has to find his Luke Kennard moment, that one player or that one wrinkle that the Thunder doesn't see coming. And the role players need to keep performing. Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, DeAndre Ayton, Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, who had 21 points in the Game 6 closeout win. These are not stars. These are guys who were never supposed to be here. And they've been showing up when it matters. The Thunder are heavy favorites. The odds are against the Lakers. Everything on paper says this series should be quick. But everything on paper said the Rockets series should go badly too. Let's zoom out for a second. Let's take the playoff series and the coaching adjustments and the injury updates and put them aside for just a moment. What is really happening here? LeBron James is 41 years old. He is playing in his 23rd NBA season. He has done everything in this game, won championships, won MVPs, broken records, represented his country on Olympic stages. He has been the best player in the world for a long period of time that no one else in basketball history can match. And yet, he is still out here, still competing, still putting up numbers that 25-year-olds would be proud of, still making plays that make you shake your head and say, how? People have been waiting for LeBron to decline for years. They've been writing the LeBron is finally slowing down takes for at least 5 years. And every time they write those takes, he comes back the next game and does something that makes them eat their words. But this year is different from all the other years. Because this year, for the first time, LeBron James is not just playing for himself. He's not just playing for championships or legacy or records. He's playing for Bronny.
Think about that.
LeBron made a decision years ago, publicly, openly, that he wanted to play in the NBA at the same time as his son. He said it in interviews. He said it was his dream. People thought he was joking or exaggerating. Nobody thought it could actually happen. It happened. Bronny James was drafted by the Lakers in 2024. He played his rookie season alongside his father. And this year, in his second season, they stepped onto a playoff floor together. They won a playoff series together. And somewhere in a future game, maybe this series, maybe the next, maybe someday down the line, LeBron James is going to retire. And when he does, people are going to look back at this moment, this spring, these games, and they're going to say, that's when it started to feel like the end. And the ending was beautiful. His mother, Gloria, sitting in the stands, watching her son and her grandson. That image will last longer than any game film. And let's not forget the man on the sideline. JJ Redick took a job that many people thought was too big for him. Head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, with LeBron James in the locker room, with championship expectations on his shoulders, with the most scrutinized fan base in professional basketball watching his every decision. He struggled at points last year. There were games where the rotations fell off. There were moments where you could see him learning in real time.
And people noticed.
People were critical. But something happened between last year and this year. Something clicked. You can see it in how this team plays now. You can see it in the way they fight through adversity. You can see it in Game 6, when Ayton guarded Sengun one-on-one, and it worked because Redick trusted his read and trusted his player. He called Oklahoma City one of the greatest teams ever in NBA history. Not to make excuses before the series starts. Not to lower expectations so the pressure comes off. He said it because he's honest. Because he respects the opponent. Because he believes that acknowledging the challenge is the first step toward meeting it. That's a coach who has grown into the job. That's a man who knows where he is and what he's facing and isn't running from it. JJ Redick is going to be tested in the second round in ways he's never been tested before. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a different animal than anything the Lakers faced against Houston. The Thunder's defense will create problems that the Rockets never created. But here's the thing. Here's the wild, against all logic thing. JJ Redick has already surprised you once this playoffs. He's already done something people didn't expect. He already coached his shorthanded, beat-up team to a playoff series win. What if he can do it again? So, let's bring it back around. Let's put the three pieces of good news right next to each other and look at what they add up to. Piece 1. The Los Angeles Lakers just won a first-round playoff series against the Houston Rockets for games to 2. They did it without Luka Doncic for the entire series. They did it with Austin Reaves available for only the final 2 games. They did it with LeBron James, a 41-year-old man, as the engine of everything. And they did it because JJ Redick coached them to it. That's not luck. That's will. That's character. That's a team that refused to accept the story everyone was writing for them. Piece 2. Austin Reaves is back. He's healthy. He's on the floor. He's competing in the playoffs after coming back from a grade 2 oblique strain faster than almost anyone expected. The man who was supposed to miss the entire first round came back in time to contribute to the closeout. And now, with the second round starting, Reaves is going to be a factor. Not at full strength necessarily. He needs time to get his legs back, to get his rhythm back. But he's there. He's available. And when Austin Reaves is available, this team is better in ways that don't always show up in the box score. Piece 3. LeBron James and Bronny James Jr. made NBA history. First father and son to play together in a playoff game. First father and son to win a playoff series as teammates. That moment in Game 1, when they both ran onto the floor and the crowd's sound changed, that moment is already permanent. That moment already belongs to basketball history. No matter what happens against Oklahoma City, no matter how this season ends, that moment cannot be taken away. 3 pieces of good news. All in one stretch. All in one playoff series. All happening while everyone was saying it was over. The second round starts. The Thunder are waiting. Oklahoma City, the defending champions, the best team in the league, the team JJ Redick himself called one of the greatest ever. And the win probability says the Lakers have a 9.1% chance of winning any given game. 9.1%. That's tiny. That's almost nothing. That's a 1 in 11 shot, roughly. But here's what I want you to sit with. Here's the question I want you to carry with you when you watch Game 1. What if that 9.1% is enough? What if this team, this banged up, short-handed, been counted out all season team, finds a way to steal one in Oklahoma City? What if they come home to Crypto.com Arena and the crowd brings them back? What if Luka Doncic suddenly heals faster than expected and walks back into the lineup in Game 3 or Game 4? What if JJ Redick finds another adjustment that nobody sees coming? What if? That's the question that's been hanging over this team all season. What if they're more than they look like on paper? What if the sum of this team is greater than its parts? What if LeBron James has one more miracle in him? He's already given us so many. The Cleveland comeback. The Golden State comebacks. The championship with the Lakers in the bubble. The records. The milestones. The moments. Is there one more? We don't know. Nobody knows. That's the beauty of what's coming. The Los Angeles Lakers just received a triple dose of good news. They advanced. They got Reaves back. They made history with a father and his son. Now the hard part starts. Now they go up against the impossible. And if you think LeBron James has never beaten the impossible before, you haven't been paying attention. Stay locked in. Game 1 against the Thunder is here. And if you're a Lakers fan, if you've been riding with this team through all of it, through the injuries and the losses and the doubts, you deserve to see what comes next.
Subscribe.
Hit the notification bell. Because if the Lakers are going to do something crazy against Oklahoma City, you don't want to miss a second of it. And if they don't, if the Thunder run through them the way everybody expects, at least you'll have this. You'll have the memories of a series that nobody thought they could win. You'll have Redick's adjustments. You'll have Reaves coming back. You'll have LeBron doing things a 41-year-old has never done. And you'll have that moment. That one moment. Game 1. Second quarter. Two men on the floor with the same last name. Father and son. Making history together. That one's already yours. And nobody can ever take it away.